and pleased to say is here for that. And first, a look at the Federal Reserve.
Yes, the US Central Bank is in the spotlight as Janet Yellen has led her first monthly meeting as its chair. After the meeting, the Fed announced that it would reduce its monthly stimulus by $10 billion as of next month. The US Central Bank will buy bonds to the tune of $55 billion as opposed to $65 billion. It comes as Yellen says the US economy is improving, even though harsh winter weather this winter has taken its toll.
Labor market conditions have continued to improve. The unemployment rate at 6.7% is 0.3 lower than the data available at the time of the December meeting.
Now, the focus after the Fed meeting has also been on when the US Central Bank will hike interest rates. The Fed has previously hinted that it would consider higher rates when the jobless rate hits 6.5%. But Janet Yellen was seen to downplay that, but she did indicate that rates could head higher in about a year's time. Investors on Wall Street, they seem to think that higher interest rates are too close for comfort after Yellen's statement. And after that statement, stock markets in the United States closed in negative territory. As you can see here, the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 0.7%, the Nasdaq down 0.6%, and a very similar figure there for the S&P 500. The markets in Europe were mixed at the close of trade, with the CAC 40 and the FTSE falling back after gaining on Tuesday. The DAX in Frankfurt was higher as BMW shares led the charge higher. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Take a look at the MySex as well. Moscow's main stock market index. We're keeping an eye on that during the Ukraine crisis. It took a little bit of a beating on Wednesday, but that followed some real gains on Tuesday as the fears of where the Ukraine crisis is heading appear to be receding. Now, shares in Spanish clothes retailer Inditex reached new highs on Wednesday, closing 4.5% higher. It came as the owner of Zara said it saw strong sales during the first 6 weeks of its current financial year. At the same time, the retailer said its profits barely grew in the year that ended in January. Those profits came in at 2.4 billion euros. As Inditex said, it continued to invest in expanding stores. Germany's DAX index, it got a boost as shares in BMW surged by almost 7%. The gain came as the German carmaker issued an upbeat forecast for sales and profits this year. BMW says pre-tax earnings will come in significantly higher than last year's 7.9 billion euros. The company is also to sell more than 2 million vehicles, which is higher than in 2013. Let's change tack now. It's been billed as a budget for savers, bingo players and drinkers. That's how one analyst reacted to the latest budget put forward by Britain's finance minister this Wednesday. It included lower levies on pension savings, bingo playing and beer. At the same time, Osborne boasted that the British economy will grow quicker than first forecast. Claire Murphy has more.
There are a few surprises in store, Chancellor.
A traditional start to budget day outside number 11 Downing Street. But this Chancellor of the Exchequer says there's nothing backward about the British economy. Addressing a roused House of Commons, George Osborne declared that after years of deep recession, Britain's recovery had taken hold, with a growth forecast of 2.7% for 2014.
We are now growing faster than Germany, faster than Japan, faster than the United States. In fact, there is no major advanced economy in the world growing faster than Britain today.
But Osborne says the job for the Tory-led coalition is far from done. A top priority tackling the malaise of high borrowings propping up government spending.
Yes, the deficit is down by a third. Now, in the coming year, it will be down by a half. But it is still one of the highest in Europe, so today we take further action to bring it down.
So austerity remains the key rallying call in Whitehall. No big giveaways, just some modest tax cuts and an income boost for pensioners. With the general election next year, more sweeteners may have been kept until the run-in, but the opposition Labour Party insists the living standards of the British working class continue to plummet, and they say the coalition has fallen far short of many of the economic targets they initially aspired to.
I've got one more story to tell you about before I leave you. Toyota is to pay $1.2 billion to atone for misleading statements about car safety. The settlement with the US government was announced by Attorney General Eric Holder. He says it's the largest penalty of its kind to be imposed on a car maker ever. The action concludes a 4-year investigation after Toyota recalled more than 10 million vehicles. Holder says Toyota concealed information over issues with brakes, accelerator pedals and floor mats. OK, that is the business news for now. Back to you, Mark.
That final story, Marcus, a shocking one. Glad it's all resolved. Thank you for the business. Marcus Carson there, our business editor.